The crisp mountain air usually a balm to my soul felt like a suffocating shroud. I scrolled through the photos on my wife Nadine phone, each one a carefully curated solo hike. She'd called it the very phrase, now a bitter pill I was forced to swallow. She'd been so excited about it, a weekend getaway to the Cascades just to clear my head. Babe, she purred, kissing me goodbye with a practiced affection that now felt like a brand on my skin. 4 weeks things had felt off, a subtle shift in her demeanor, a distracted look in her eyes, the way she'd recoil from my touch at night. I choked it up to stress, to the pressures of her demanding job, a long simmering worry that always found a way to rationalize itself foolishly. I tried to be understanding, supportive, the dependable husband she always seemed to need, but deep down a cold dread had been growing, a relentless whisper that refused to be silenced. The photos were breathtaking, undeniably towering pines framed jagged peaks that scraped the sky. Sunlight dappled through the canopy, illuminating vibrant wildflowers. She was beautiful in each shot, her face flushed with exertion, a genuine looking smile lighting her eyes. It was a picture perfect solo adventure, except it wasn't. One particular photo caught my attention. She was perched on a rocky outcrop, the vast valley stretching out behind her like a rumpled green carpet in the foreground, tucked away in the lower right corner, barely noticeable unless you were looking for it, was a glint of something metallic. It was a watch, not just any watch. It was the distinctive, oversized silver timepiece that I had bought for my best friend Eddie for his 30th birthday. A wave of nausea washed over me. The world seemed to tilt, the mountain air no longer refreshing but thick and clawing. Eddie, my best friend, the man I'd shared countless beers with, confided my deepest fears and vulnerabilities to, who'd stood by my at our wedding. The sheer betrayal was like a punch to the gut. The realization was crushing, a tidal wave of anger, hurt, and disbelief. My hands were trembling as I scrolled back through the photos, my eyes now searching, scrutinizing. I saw more, a barely visible corner of a familiar blue backpack, the kind Eddie always took on his own hikes, a pair of hiking boots a shade darker than hers, partially visible in one photo. The pieces of the puzzle, scattered and seemingly innocent, were now forming a grotesque portrait of deception. My blood ran cold. The cheerful facade she presented now felt like a cruel mockery. The affection, the kisses, the promises, all carefully constructed lies. The trust I'd placed in her, in both of them, was shattered, ground into dust. I didn't explode, not yet. I needed to process, to think clearly, to formulate a plan. I wasn't going to let them get away with this. They had underestimated me. When Madison returned that evening, she was the picture of glowing health, her cheeks flushed, her eyes bright. It was amazing, babe, she gushed, throwing her arms around me. I needed that so much. I forced myself to hug her back, to feel the familiar warmth of her body against mine, knowing it was all a sham. I wanted to scream, to unleash the fury that was building inside me, but I remained calm, cold as ice. I'm so glad you had a good time, honey, I replied, my voice dangerously even. I excused myself, pretending to have work to catch up on. I spent the rest of the evening meticulously planning my move. I knew I had to catch them in the ACT to make sure there was no room for denial. I installed a small hidden camera in the living room, focusing on the couch where they always sat when he came over. I needed hard evidence. I needed to see it all for myself. The next few days were a torturous dance of pretense. Madison carried on as if nothing had happened, her interactions with me a strange mix of normalcy and detachment. I in turn played the role of the oblivious husband, smiling, nodding, all the while simmering with a rage that threatened to consume me. Then came Friday night. Madison had mentioned she was going out with her friends, which I knew was code for a rendezvous with Eddie. I had the camera ready, the footage recording. It wasn't long before I saw the front door open and Eddie stepped in, grinning like he owned the place. They kissed, a slow, intimate kiss that made my stomach churn. This was it. I burst through the door, the hidden camera still recording their stunned expressions. The air crackled with shock. Madison's face drained of all color, her eyes wide with terror. Eddie stood there like a deer caught in headlights, a pathetic excuse for a man. What the hell is this? I roared, my voice echoing through the suddenly silent room. Madison stammered, her lies already falling apart. Honey, it's not what it looks like, really. Madison, then what is it? I spat. Is it a casual meetup between friends while I'm out of the house? A secret lover's rendezvous behind my back? Who do you think you're fooling? I turned my attention to Eddie, my best friend, the traitor. The betrayal cut deeper than any anger. You spineless piece of garbage. You dare call yourself my friend? You were in my house eating at my table sharing drinks from my fridge, all while sleeping with my wife. The utter disrespect. I was shaking my body, trembling with a mixture of fury and disgust. He started to stammer, his face a mask of fear. Look, I can explain. I didn't want to hear it. I lunged at him, my fist connecting with his jaw with a sickening thud. He stumbled back, his eyes wide with terror. Madison screamed, her hands flying to her mouth. I didn't stop. I rained punches on him, fueled by rage that had been building for weeks. I hit him until he was cowering on the floor, blood trickling from his nose and mouth. I wanted to keep hitting him to make him feel every ounce of pain and humiliation he'd inflicted on me, but I stopped, breathing heavily, my knuckles throbbing. Get out, I growled, my voice tight with rage. Get the hell out of my house and never come back. He scrambled to his feet, his face contorted with pain, and fled, his tail between his legs. Madison was a crumpled mess on the couch, sobbing controllably. I stood over her, my heart hard and cold. I want you gone, I said, my voice devoid of any emotion. Pack your things and leave now, she begged, pleaded.